It's been about a year now since the launch of this channel and its partner app, Hobby Life, which is available on the iOS App Store. To mark the occasion, I thought it might be fun to talk a bit about how the app was made, what to expect next, and also answer some of the frequently asked questions. So let's get started. If you're new to this channel or haven't heard me talk about Hobby Life before, it's a small app available for iOS that lets you visualize your hobby progress with a progress screen and graphs, so you know based on your current rate of completion when you are likely to finish getting through your backlog. You can also see if your backlog is going up or down. Miniatures are tracked in collections, where you can add units and individual projects, which are normally single units or squads of 5 or 10. This tracks the dates of important events. You can also add a photo. For minis you haven't completed yet, you can track each stage of your workflow. You can add as many of these as you want. Sure, leaving it unlimited is going to come back to bite me one day when someone tests what those limits are. There's also a lot of other useful tools in here, like rosters, so you can see the progress of your individual teams that you use to play games, activity logs, seasonal scoring, and a random button to help you pick which project to do next. I used this earlier this year to pick my novitiates, which I then painted for a video. So how much does this app cost? Well, it's actually free. Which brings me to my first FAQ. Why is Hobby Life free? Well, the decision came from a few boring businessy reasons. Mostly that it is a niche product that is unlikely to bring in a sizable revenue. So for me it was more valuable as a way to bring new fans to the channel, and that meant getting it into as many hands as possible. For those curious about how the app was made, this program over here is called Xcode. It is Apple's design tool for apps. Hobby Life uses the Swift programming language, and is one of the few apps in the App Store that takes advantage of a fairly new interface technology called SwiftUI. Without SwiftUI, I probably wouldn't have made this app. Back in the early 2010s when I started making iOS apps, it would be quite a huge undertaking to make even a simple app like this. It would be months of work, thousands of lines of codes, but SwiftUI allowed me to have a first version of the app in beta just 2 weeks after I started building it, which I thought was really cool. Like, that's a very fast way to go from prototype to production. Each of the updates that I've made have also been really quick. So let me just show you a bit of how this app is structured. I have folders here for each of the interfaces. The numbering indicates sort of where it sits in the hierarchy of the views. Each folder contains files of code that look something like this. Thanks to SwiftUI, there actually isn't a lot of code needed to run the app. In the assets folder, this is where you would normally see all of the images used in the app. But here you can see that it's mostly the app icons. This app uses very little external artwork, which also makes it a lot easier to maintain. Apple actually provides a lot of symbols, so most of the effort goes into just picking the right ones to work with in the app. One thing I like to do with all my products is have a lot of customization at its core. In this app I've always allowed colors to be changed, but recently I added themes so you could pick from a few pre-designed color schemes. With a recent update I also added the ability to change the app icon, so you can pick a theme that best fits you. On the screen I also wanted to show you a bit of how SwiftUI makes it easier to design applications. On the left is my app and on the right is a design preview. If I go to the code I can make some changes and you'll see it straight away in the preview. For example, if I want these app icons to be more rounded, I can change this figure and straight away see what it looks like. If you haven't worked in software before, this probably doesn't look like a big deal at all, but Being able to instantly preview code visually like this is really powerful and speeds up the design process quite a fair bit. It's pretty common that you would have to make your changes, hit build, wait for it to show up on your device, have a look at it there, and then make your adjustments and start that whole process again and again and again. So this brings me to another FAQ. Why is the app only on iPhone and iPad and not Android? I would love to bring this app to as many platforms as possible, but unfortunately Xcode and Swift are native to Apple, and Apple don't really make these things that flexible. So if I wanted to develop it for Android as well, I'd pretty much have to start from scratch, and that would take a lot of resources. I could have initially developed the app in an environment which was cross-platform, but then the iOS app wouldn't be as high quality as it currently is, and it would also take 10 times as long to build. So I had to make some sacrifices in order to make the iOS app as good as possible. So what's next for Hobby Life? Well, the app has always supported iOS 14 Plus ever since it launched, but I'm planning to move that to a minimum of iOS 16 later this year. My reason for that is the current modules I use for graphs are pretty intensive, meaning I had to stop enhancing the Progress tab, which currently doesn't have a lot of customization and looks pretty ordinary on iPad. In iOS 16 there are two new features in Swift that allow for high performance graphs and better view layouts. So I'd really like to implement both of them and allow for the progress screen to be a lot better. There are a number of other improvements on the to-do list as well, which you can check out on the Discord, which you can access via the link on the Hobby Life app or on this video. The Discord also contains patch notes, so you can see what's coming next and when. A lot of the new features that are added to the app came from user requests that were also made on this Discord, so I do read all of the requests and I implement the ones that make sense for the app. As mentioned, this app is free, but if you want to support its development, there is a Patreon. I definitely don't expect anyone to sign up, but support and encouragement is always very appreciated. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this little peek behind the curtain. Let me know if you want me to do more videos like this. I know it's a bit different to the usual model painting videos, but I'm curious if people actually want to see how these features are built, and more about the app in general. So with that, thanks for watching. Next video will be something model painting related. I just got this big beast today. I don't know if I'm going to dive into painting it just yet because there is so much plastic in here, but let me know in the comments if you want to see anything specific to Age of Darkness. Okay, and with that, thanks for watching, and see you next time.